It's another round of the reset. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. On today's show, we got Brandon Mebane is going to join us. Also, Aaron Goldsmith, Goldie from the Seattle Mariners, he will join us. And Mike Jackson will be a guest to talk about local basketball right here in the state of Washington. Let's go.
It's the reset with G. Scott.
Bang! What's good, bruh?
What's happening? What's happening? How y'all doing?
Oh, good. Now, Bang, have you met Cat Stokes yet?
No, I haven't.
Well, Cat Stokes.
Hi.
Bang, Cat
Hey,
Stokes.
how you doing?
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Right.
Yeah,
big fan. Big fan.
Right.
Hey, real quick, Bang, before we get into, because I want to talk about Gino Smith, because he has some things about respect, but I want to say, man, happy anniversary, man. Happy anniversary.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
How many
Appreciate
years
it.
is
Thank
this
you.
for you?
12.
Ooh. Okay, real quick, Bang. Tell everybody one secret. Now, I know she probably listening. What's one secret you got for everybody for marriage?
I think it's keep God first, listen to each other, and try to do your best to communicate. Because, when you're in a relationship, nobody's going to come in 100% perfect, right? So, you just grow. You just learn from each other. You learn from things to do, things what not to do. You learn from other people.
Right.
What's one thing is interesting that we do watch. We watch this show, Pop the Balloon, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the show right now.
Hey, so what's interesting about that show is, right? I noticed like all the women get on there, they be like, I want a guy who's a great communicator. And the dudes be about 35, 36. But the thing about a lot of the people that's single on that show, like you get accustomed to being single. So you don't know how to, a lot of the times you don't know how to deal with conflict, or you don't know how to solve or talk or communicate.
Yeah.
And I'm like noticing, like, I'm not trying to bash the women, but I'm like, y'all want good communicators. I'm like, dude, most dudes is not good communicators.
Hey, Bang, tell the
That's
truth.
key.
Tell the truth. In an argument, in a fight with you and your wife, most of the time she wins, right?
Well, I mean, she a lawyer, man. So, I had to get better. I had to get better with getting my point across. I had to come prepared, But it's it's not about like who wins or who loses. It's about like just learning.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Growing.
Yeah, it is. I care what none of y'all say. You want to know the sign of a good marriage is yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, dear. No, dear. You right. I'm telling you. Trust me. Life is better. All right, let's get to football right now. I wanna read a quote to you, Bang and Kat. It is Gino Smith. He just signed his extension. He was there smiling. Hair looked good there with Pete Carroll. He says,
Right.
He said recently, quote, when you're talking about business and you're talking about a
Right.
quarterback who wants not only to get paid, every player wants to get paid, but to be respected. That's the most
Right.
important thing. It's the respect factor. And I just feel like there was a disconnect there. Obviously, he's talking
Right.
about his time in Seattle. Help us understand that. Did Geno feel disrespected? Your thoughts?
I would say yes. Well, how many years was Gino there? But at least about what, 3, 4?
I think 4 to 5, but man, so don't have my brain go right now. Like 4 to 5 years. Yeah.
Now let me tell you so like this, right? So Gino built relationships throughout the whole building. He built relationships with his teammates. He had a good rapport in the locker room. He had great communication skills, great quarterback. He thought he put in enough work to get a new deal. I thought as well as I thought that he did an excellent job, but Sometimes.
Yeah, you know what, man? You're sitting here
Yeah.
sugarcoating. Let me tell you something, man. I've been around y'all for 22. Oh yeah, you're sugarcoating stuff. I've been around y'all for 22 years. Everybody listening right now, hey, whether you get a paycheck every other Friday, or whether you're in the NBA, or you're a firefighter, or you work in a factory or warehouse. Everybody feel disrespected at some point. Yeah. You look at your paycheck and you say to yourself, I should get paid more. The thing is, you think Bobby Wagner wasn't disrespected? You think Richard Sherman wasn't disrespected? Everyone. You think you weren't disrespected? Like the fact that this whole I was disrespected, man, stop with that. I'm sorry, Bane. Yeah. Like that, and you know what? Let me go further. Now I'm heated up now because the thing is I think Gino Smith is a good quarterback. Let me start. I'll keep telling everybody that. I think he's a good quarterback. Yeah. But when he does stuff like this, I'm like, I felt disrespected. When you do that, that's just that mental block right there. And the one thing that I will say about number 3, Russell Wilson, that dude was a dog. Yeah. He is mentally tough.
Yeah.
Now you can go ahead and sugarcoat answer all you want to, Bang.
No, man. I can definitely understand that, Gino. I feel him. Because it's blood, sweat, and tears, G. It's like you put your all into it, man. And, once you put your all into it, you thought you did it enough or you did more than enough of expectations. Because keep it real, didn't nobody think Gino was going to perform the way he performed.
Yep.
Right? I think it's more so management had to look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, why did we keep changing? This is our 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years, right? There's no stability. So it's more on management than it is on him, right? He did his job, and he thought he should got paid for it. I agree with him.
Yeah,
blood, sweat, and tears, G.
Blood, sweat, and tears, but like you can't take that to the bank, And I feel like when you start thinking about that mentally, like you said, that's a mental block. I think in the art of war, you can't lead with emotion. That's when you lose. And even though he had some traits, I think younger is not always better, one. So that is kind of disrespect. I think he was the right person, wrong time. But he did not do, I think, as I don't want to call the 12s greedy, but like when we look at they were winning seasons. And he also came, respect to Russell Wilson, but if you look at how he left Denver and even with the Steelers, it was like, ooh, it's getting a little hot up in here. Gino kept it clean. So I'm like, I got a lot of respect towards him and how he operated on and off the field. I think that's something we really may miss next season. I don't know. We'll see with Sam Darnold. But when it comes to, I thought I put my time in, they can, counter back with, well, what you do in the red zone. Like business has nothing to do with how you feel and what you personally thought you was doing for an organization. That's how I feel.
I'm gonna tell y'all, from a former player, we all feel the way Gino feels.
Absolutely.
Gino just expressed it out loud.
Absolutely.
Why?
No, that's so normal. It's normal too.
Why y'all feel like that? Wait, hold on. You said as a former player, a lot of y'all feel like Gino feels. Why?
Definitely.
Why?
Well, I'm gonna tell you why. Like I said, I go back to blood, sweat, and tears. You put so much work into this game. You perform, and sometimes you do things that the coaches want you to do that you feel like that's not worthy. And then as a player, right? If I do this, then y'all gonna use this against me when it comes time to negotiating, right? So you actually sacrifice some of your ability to look a certain way when that's not the right way to do it. So at the end of the day, right, you look at it like this as a player. We always say you control you got to control what you can control, right? And the only thing you control is how you perform, but you have to have the right pieces around you, coaching and also personnel, which is players, to perform at your best. When they say that saying you're only good as your team is real. That goes in with boxing, golf, everything. Now those two sports are, individual sports, but you also need the right nutritionist, the right strength coach, the right coach to correct you on your swings, whether it's boxing or golf, all that. You're only good as your team.
Now, Kat, earlier you was talking about something you was gonna ask Bang.
Yeah. currently, like I'm seeing a lot of teams now bringing up the fullback position again, and that's something you were really adamant about last season on the reset. I see that you're like, I know, because you play. You know, you a professional. Why were you so adamant about the fullback position?
Well, the fullback position is like this, right? If you look at the history of the NFL, right, it's probably been one or two running backs that got away with not using the fullback as much, right? And you could say, well, I'm gonna say two dudes I can say off the top of my head: Marshall Faulk and Barry Sanders. Those dudes were so elusive to where they didn't. They were like, I can get away with it not having a fullback. But majority of the running backs, they need a fullback, right? So okay, I'm gonna give you an example, right? If I see a fullback coming in the game and I'm at nose, right? Depending on like what type of defense we running, I know if I'm getting a double, a hard double, right? If it's not a fullback coming in the game, then I know I'm probably getting some type of zone action, right? Well, to me, that fullback, it was a lot of times to where I penetrated the A gap, right? I penetrated A gap. And that fullback got in my way, and he kept me from making so many plays. The fullback gets in the way with three techniques, linebacker. It's not that you're trying to like knock him, knock the defense opponent, knock him down to the ground. Those guys are there. It's an extra offensive lineman, which is in a running back body, right? That gets in guys' way. And sometimes, or a majority of the time, you don't have a running back that's elusive like Barry Sanders, right? Or Marshall Faulk, to where they can make it happen themselves with they wiggling, right? Look at Marshawn. Marshawn could wiggle, but Marshawn benefited tremendously by having a fullback. Adrian Peterson, tremendous, by having a fullback,
You ain't gonna say
Frank
Mike
Gore,
Robb's. You ain't gonna say Mike Robb's name. You can give Mike Robb his love, his credit.
Yeah, man, I ain't got nothing bad against Mike Robb, but yeah.
I just wanted you to say Mike Robb's name.
Yeah, no, that's my dude. The one thing I noticed about Mike Robb, this ain't got nothing to do with football. I was like, man, Mike Robb had a bald head the whole time we was playing. And all of a sudden, man, he got a head full of hair. I'm like, Mike, man, what's the secret, man? And I'm like,
no, in all fairness, but that was me. I used to shave my head all the time, and then I decided, start growing my hair out. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, Michael Jordan days, I guess. Always having the bald head.
Yeah.
All right, bang.
I don't have that luxury.
We gotta get going. Oh, that's right. Is your hair gone, bro?
Yeah, so right here, my hairline disappeared, and then I got that bald spot back here, man. It's just genetics, man. It's just what it is.
I see you rocking your cow today, man. I
I gotta represent, man. I'm like, man, we need some love, man. We need some love, man.
Well, babe,
4 or 5 stars.
We ain't gonna keep it that long because we got another guest coming on. But I'll call you when I get in the car. Number one, number two, real quick. Is it fair to say Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time?
Yeah, I mean you could definitely say that.
He got disrespected, right?
Well, I'm gonna say this: the difference with Tom Brady, right? He's a great quarterback, but he's not the best athlete, right?
Yeah.
The thing with Tom Brady is Tom Brady had a lot of respect around the league where Tom Brady can go in any building and say, I'm bringing my whole playbook with me, and I'm bringing some players with me, and y'all going to have to adjust to me instead of me adjusting to your system.
That's
a
true.
lot of players can't do that.
That's true. Before you go, Bang, tell people how to find you, man, because you be helping people dissect film, and whether you're a high school kid, college kid, pro kid, what you got? Right.
Elevate your football IQ. You can find me at Mebane. That's my Instagram 92. Hit me and message me, and we can get some sections going as far as breaking film down and everything, and we'll just get it going. Let's get better.
Appreciate you, Bane. I know in that interview there was when you had to say about the team, there was 5 or 6 pauses in there that I didn't say. So I just want to let everybody know I caught them. It was 5 or 6 pauses. Anyway, all right, Bang. I'm going to holler at you, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Y'all take care.
He leads play-by-play on Root Sports Northwest for the Seattle Mariners, and he joins the reset right now. Aaron Goldsmith, what's up, my boy? How you doing?
Gee, it's good to see you, man. How you been?
I've been great, man. Now, listen, I heard people sometimes call you Goldie, and I want to call you that too, but until I got further information, I need to know why they call you Goldie, who started calling you Goldie. I need to know the background on it.
Oh, man, it's like every other baseball nickname. There's no good story. They just put a Y at the end of it. Like, that's it.
Man, I've been
forever. Like, people call me that forever.
Hey, I tell you what, man, I've been a fan of your work. I'm so glad that you're coming on. You got the best voice in all of sports. I'll say that to the hills. But one of the things that really stood out to me, I've been watching you every night with the Mariners. Do you know how good I thought it was that you were able to work and interview Gary Payton at the same time? That was incredible. Take me through that process. How do you do that?
Oh, that's very nice of you, first of all. I had met Gary Payton once before when I was calling an Oregon State basketball game and his son was playing. And he joined us courtside for that game. And so I had like a little inside intel based on experience that he's a great talker, which obviously makes our job a lot easier. I don't have to tell you that.
Right.
And I was geeked to be able to talk to him again, man. Like, he's one of those guys where when you're interviewing him as the game's going on, you really pay a very small amount of attention to the game, right? Like, there are some guests where you're like, hey, I got to balance the interview and the game.
Right.
And obviously, if the Mariners had come up with the bases loaded and he was in the booth, I would have probably shifted my focus a little bit more towards the game. But it's Gary Payton, right? I mean, like, there's almost nothing realistically in the game that will be better than talking to him. And I try to put myself, just like you do in your show, I'm constantly trying to put myself in the viewer's shoes. Like, if I'm on the couch right now as a Mariners fan, as a Seattle sports fan, and Gary Payton comes on, what do I care the most about? And it's Gary Payton.
It's Gary Payton.
Right? It's 100%. And so the more that he could talk, the better. And what a thrill, man. That was awesome. That was very cool.
You've been here, if I'm correct, I think when I was first getting in media, I think you got here maybe a couple years before. I think you've been around here since 2000, like 12 years, 2013, if I'm correct. And I know you're, if I'm not mistaken, you're from the Midwest. That's a vibe that you and I have. I'm from the Midwest as well. Where
are you from?
I'm from Chicago, brother. Born and raised in Chicago. Cool. Yeah. When did you know like, yo, I can be a sportscaster? This is my thing. What happened and when?
Man, it's like the worst story. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, there's nothing romantic about what I'm about to say.
Come on.
I was a history major in college. I had no intention of being a broadcaster. Like, it wasn't even on my radar. Like, furthest thing from my radar until roughly 2 months before I graduated college. What? And at that point, I was like, you know what? Radio might be something I want to get into. And I thought I wanted to be a sports talk show host. And people had to like push me into play-by-play. I had no interest whatsoever. And I went to a broadcasting school, like a trade school, after I graduated college. Because I didn't do any broadcasting in college. I didn't even know how to hold a microphone. Couldn't even turn one on.
Whoa.
And it was at that broadcasting school that my advisor was like, hey, you should really think about play-by-play. Shout out to a guy named John Carroll back in St. Louis. And he said, there's an independent league baseball team across the river in Illinois called the Gateway Grizzlies. And they're looking for an intern in May for their season. And you should go get some tape and apply. And I said no like 10 times. And then the 11th time into a tape deck. And that's what I made my first demo out of. And here I am. So that's how it happened, man. It's like, I wasn't that kid who was 8 years old sitting on the living room floor thinking about calling play-by-play. It just kind of happened.
But Goldie, hold on. Even before that, even when you're a history major, even when you're in college, you mean to tell me not one of your friends, stranger, anybody you tried to date, nobody said to you, hey, my man, you got a good voice. I know somebody told you that because the first time I ever heard you, I said, man, do you hear that man's voice?
Yeah, people told me I had a deep voice, but I wouldn't say I had a good voice. Man, I was just like every other like teenager. Like, with a deep voice. It didn't sound any good. It was just deeper than everybody's. Uh, but it's like being tall, right? Like I'm blessed with a deeper voice, and I have learned how to use it better as I've gotten into the business. Hopefully that just continues as years go by. But yeah, it definitely helps to have a deeper voice in our line of work. But it's obviously not everything. But it was at least a good starting point. Let's put it that way.
Right. Let's talk about this year's Mariners team. So let me just tell you this. I mean, obviously, I've been here. I moved here in 1999. Obviously, I've been in this town. I remember 2001 very well. It's a great season, all of the things. And, of course, they recently were in the playoffs, a couple years ago, all that stuff. But there's something about this team like that I personally am falling in love with, which is the reason why I keep going to Mariner games. The reason why I wanted to talk to you and anybody associated with the Mariners. There's something, the outfield, Cal Raleigh, the pitching staff, like there's something about it. Is it me, or do you see something, even though whether win, loss, or whatever, there's something special about this team?
Well, I think it's a compelling team in a lot of ways, and you mentioned some of those. You are looking at the maybe best catcher in franchise history before your very eyes. Now, as I said the other night on the air, I don't think Cal's there yet, simply just by service time. Like Dan Wilson's the best catcher in franchise history. Cal has put up the best single seasons for a catcher in franchise history. The extension certainly puts him on the path that he will kind of be able to carry that torch at some point in his career, since he will be a Mariner now for so long. For Julio, you're looking at a guy who was on track to be one of the great players potentially in franchise history and the best center fielder outside of Griffey.
Yeah.
Right? You've got J.P. Crawford, who might already be the best shortstop the Mariners have ever had. A-Rod had the better single seasons, but J.P.'s put together a longer duration in Seattle. And then from the rotation, like you talked about, like who knows who of those five will end up being here the longest and put together the best overall Mariner career. And we haven't talked about Munoz yet in the bullpen. So I guess, like, to your point, if I'm I was going to say as a young Mariner fan, but even if you're not a young Mariner fan, like you're looking at this 26-man roster, like how many guys, this is an actual question, I don't know the answer, obviously, how many guys are future Mariner Hall of Famers that you're going to T-Mobile Park and watching every night? Like, probably more than 2, 3. I don't know, maybe 4. We'll wait and see how it plays out, right? So because of that, it is pretty interesting.
You know what I pride myself on, man? Like seriously, I pride myself on seeing it before it pops, right? Like, and I'm not just talking about baseball. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about with my kids. I'm just talking about just in general. I'm talking about with my lawn, my grass. Like, I went out the other day, and I'm telling you right now, this spring and summer, nobody on my block is going to have better grass than me. I see it.
Okay.
And when I look at the Mariners, I just see special. And I'll go with the outfield. Like, I am in love with the outfield. Shout out to my man, Victor Robles. On Monday, we found out the news that he won't need surgery as of now, but he'll probably be out for about 12 weeks. But up until then, I kept raving about this outfield. Goldie, I love my man, Randy Rosarina. By the way, I call him Randy Watson from Coming to America because he just got so much style and juice. That boy good.
Yeah, where do you want me to go with that? I mean, I agree. I agree on all those things.
Yeah. No, I'm just going crazy. But again, where I'm going with it is that I see the real potential, and I know people talked about addressing the bats in the offseason, but I just wanted to really talk into, like, you can really see there's a lot of pieces that are in place, and just once things pop, I think there's no stopping them. That was a great win. J.P. Crawford helping them out defensively in the top of the ninth on Monday. That was fantastic. Just from your standpoint, that's why I just wanted to talk about, when you see it, can you see it on the verge of popping?
Well, I think that's what the Mariners are all about, for better or worse right now, right? Like, everybody from Jerry Dipoto to Dan Wilson to you, me, and the guy in Puyallup, like, we're all waiting for not just one, but for like 5 or 6 of them to pop.
Yeah.
Because last year they were the little pieces of popcorn at the bottom of the bowl that didn't pop.
Right.
Right. You had a lot of guys who you're like, man, I thought the Mariners would get more from from Julio. I thought they'd get more from J.P. Crawford. I thought they'd get more from Mitch Garver and from Jorge Polanco, right? Like that was the story of the Mariners last year. And I think if I'm a Mariners fan, it's like, what side of the bed do you wake up on each morning? Do you wake up on the side of the bed where you're like, today's the day it's going to pop? Or you wake up on the side of the bed where you're like, I'm tired of waiting for him to pop, right? Because the time is now. Right? That's the thing with the Mariners. Because the pitching, the time is now. That's why everything seems so fragile, and so it needs to happen immediately because you've got this great rotation, and there's no reason to think that it can't happen. But like every sports fan, like Mariner fans want to see it. They want to see it happen today, and I understand that. It is a long season, but everybody wants to see it right now.
I get an opportunity to see you. By the way, shout out to the deal that the Mariners made with Root Sports. I am loving my Root Sports stream. You know what I'm saying? Hitting that for 19. Now, that's a $20 bill every month, Goldie. Life is good, baby. It's good. But I just, watching you every single night, how do you prepare for a game? Now, one of these days, Root Sports got to go a day in the life of Goldie and watching what you do. Because some of us, no, I'm for real. Some of us would like to know, we know what the baseball players do. We want to know, what do you do in preparation for a game?
Yeah, I think it might be pretty boring for most people. It's a lot of clicking on the internet is what it is. It's a lot of baseball reference and baseball savant and fan graphs. And, honestly, we joked earlier about me being a history major in college. But I think one of the great skills that any broadcaster can have is being curious. And being curious will keep you engaged during a 6-month, 162-game season where you hit a wall, man. Like all of us, players, trainers, coaches, broadcasters, we all hit a wall at some point. And I hit walls multiple times, depending on the season, right? It just happens. Yeah. It's too long of a season. And so I try to lean on my curiosity every day for how I prepare. Like if the Mariners are facing, like earlier in the week, they faced Framber Valdez, right? And I remember thinking like, man, there was a time where Framber Valdez like really had the Mariners number. But then lately, I feel like the Mariners have had his number. Like I need to look into this, and this might tell the story. Because now when I find out that the last 6 starts, the Mariners have really tagged this guy, and his first 10 appearances of his career against the Mariners, like he dominated them. Now all of a sudden, I have things that I can ask Cal Raleigh in the clubhouse, right? Or J.P. Crawford, or guys who have been here for all 16 Framber Valdez appearances against the Mariners. Now I got questions. So I lean on that curiosity, man, because I love researching, going back to the history major thing.
I want to, 2 things I want to ask you before we go, and I'm grateful that you jumped on with us. One of those being, obviously you said it earlier about being a history major. So if you did not have this career as a sports broadcaster, what could you see yourself have been doing if you weren't doing this?
It's funny you ask that. I've thought about that from time to time, and I don't have any idea, honestly. Like when broadcasting wasn't working out for me, I was going to go sell appliances. That's what I did when I was in broadcasting school. Yeah. And so I did 3 years as an intern for various teams in the minors, and I would sell appliances during the off season. That's how I made a little bit of money along with some other odd jobs. But I think not having a backup plan helped me get to where I am now, because it was like if I didn't figure this thing out, man, like I didn't know what I was going to do.
I'm glad you answered that way, and so now I'm going to piggyback on that. But for the record, I'm the same way. Like people ask me if I weren't doing this, what would I be doing? The truth is I don't know. I really don't. Like I think that you, in a weird way, you just go all in, like at the table, the poker table. You're all in on doing this. And so when things did get hard for you, and I'm like they get hard for everyone in life, how did you continue going?
Yeah, my first 3 years in the business were really difficult. I made no money. My first job paid me $80 a month. My second job was completely free of charge. I made no money, and I drove all the way to Cape Cod to call college summer league baseball there. And then my third job paid me $600 a month. So I lost money my first 3 years. And Heather, now my wife, and mother of our 3 children, we were dating. We wanted to get married, but I was a nobody, man. I was in debt. I had no money. I had no nothing. And it was really hard, man. Like I cried nights where I cried. I cried in front of my parents. because they were a lot smarter at life than I was, and I was frustrated because they weren't seeing what I was seeing, and I'm trying to chase this dream. And honestly, the only way I got through it was just to do it. Like I just kind of like submitted the fact that it was going to be incredibly challenging. I was not afraid to get into the car, pack up, and drive halfway across the country for a job that paid me nothing. And I knew that this was the time to chase it. And if it didn't work out, I would figure out how I would pivot later. But right now, it was like, I have to go on and I have to get better. And if I don't get better, then I've wasted a year of extra schooling and I've wasted however many extra years of being an intern trying to figure this out with different teams. I have to make it happen. And I'll be honest, I was one phone call away from it not happening. I told Heather, if I don't get a full-time job this offseason, I will quit broadcasting. I will have given it 3 years. Nobody would want to hire me full-time after that. That to me was the industry telling me, you're not very good. I was going to propose and become a full-time appliance salesman. And I got one phone call, and it was from the Rangers AA team in Dallas, and they offered me a full-time job to be their broadcaster. And I proposed 6 months later, moved to Dallas, and 3 years later, I was in Seattle. 4 years later, I was in Seattle. So it's crazy, man. Like, it's crazy how fast things can happen.
Wow. Well, shout out to the Rangers for giving you a call. Tomorrow night, tomorrow's my birthday, Goldie. So Friday is my birthday.
Let's go.
I'm spending my birthday. Guess how I'm spending my birthday? Me and my wife are coming to the Mariner game for my birthday.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
Do it. All right.
So that's what we want to do, man. We're going to come and check out the Mariners. Mariners, y'all undefeated when I'm in the building. Let's go.
Is that really true?
Huh?
Is that your Mariners are undefeated when you're in the house?
This season, yes. You're undefeated.
Yeah, all right.
So it's going to happen again, baby. It's going to happen again tonight. So, hey.
Love it.
Goldie, I appreciate what you do, man. Again, big fan of yours. Thank you for taking the time to come on with us. And I'm glad you told that story because a lot of people, they see you on Root Sports, you know, covering these Mariner games. But it's good to know a little bit more about you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Gee, it's great seeing you, dude. Thanks for having me on.
All right, brother. Be easy. Cat, it's always a beautiful thing to cover a lot of things. We've talked Seahawks so far. We talked to Aaron Goldsmith. And now it's time to talk to Mike Jackson. He is the founder of Heart. Is it Heart of the City?
Heart of the City.
Heart of the City.
Yep.
And he covers, and we talk about a lot of local basketball because I got to tell you, just don't you all forget, a lot of great basketball comes from this city right here, from the Jamal Crawfords of the world. And I don't feel like going all day. I know people will get mad at me because I don't list the names, but I can go through them. But you guys have heard of them. Mike Jackson, thanks for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. I want to get right to it right now. Tell us what we need to know. Who are the top basketball players? Who are the top teams? Let's start with this. How about this? I'll give me top five players that all of us need to know about, need to go see that are playing high school basketball here in the state of Washington.
I'll start off with Jalen Davis, Bremerton, point guard.
Jalen Davis, Bremerton. He's nice?
He's nice.
What's his game?
His motor's relentless. His motor, you can't teach motor. He has probably the best motor in the state.
Oh,
He had
okay.
a 35-point, 18 steal game.
Okay.
So I would say Jalen Davis, definitely Chip Haywood at Garfield.
Chip Haywood. Wait a minute. Is that the son
Jimmy Haywood.
of Jimmy Haywood?
It is.
Oh, that's some. Hey man, look here. That's some basketball pedigree right there. That's in relation to the Walker family, right?
Yeah, he's
Come on now.
very special, score on all levels.
Okay. Who else we got? That's
Got,
two.
Ethan Harris over at Chemis, 6'8".
Ooh.
Straight baller, straight beast. Goes under the radar a little bit because of course, location in Chemis.
Okay. They're not trying to get him to come up here and play no basketball?
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then you
Okay.
got,
He's 6'8", huh?
6'8".
Okay, so that's three. Okay, we got
You
three.
got,
Give me two more.
Keandre Morris over at Rainier Beach, state champion, of course. Lights out shooter. And when he gets going, he gets going. You know what I mean? very special.
Okay.
Won at Curtis as well, so he's a 2-time state champion.
Oh, so he won one at Curtis and then won one at Beach.
Won at Beach and got a chance to win 2 more. So I really like him.
Okay.
I really, really like him. And then I was on the fence. You got Latimer Ford over at Mount Si. Another big guy. I think he's 6'7". You know, he coming off an ACL injury though, but he's young. So coming off that injury, I think he'll be fine. You got to throw him in that mix if he comes back healthy.
Wow.
And then Jackson Whitaker. I gave you 5 already.
You gave me 5, but
I was on the bubble. I had
you
to throw,
you on the bubble.
I
Okay.
had to throw Jackson Whitaker in there from Liberty.
Okay.
6'2" guard. He can get going. He had, I think, 25 versus Rainier Beach in the first half. So he's nice.
Okay. Kat, where'd you go to school at?
Ooh, I went to Seattle Academy. We are not known for our basketball.
Okay.
Maybe soccer.
So hey, look here. Back when you was going to school,
Yeah.
who was the top teams back then?
It was Beach and Garfield. That's what I heard. You know,
Okay.
that's the teams you would pull up for. I heard you went to the tournaments in Tacoma, and Bellevue
did.
was putting up numbers.
I did. Well, Bellevue, they were doing it. They were there. You know what I mean? They didn't end up getting to the championship round or nothing like that. But they were there. I was very impressed with the talent that I saw. I have a feeling though, and I don't know, and I guess we can break this down, Kat, and find out who are the top, just top 5 teams. I've asked you the top players, top 5 teams. But before we get to that, I'll tell you something that I saw that makes me think that Rainier Beach, which they've been good for a long time. Shout out Mike Bethea, the job that he has done over at Rainier Beach. But there was a visual that I saw. I'm watching Rainier Beach doing their thing. I see Mike Bethea, who we can call the godfather of high school basketball. He's that dude. But seeing Jamal Crawford on the bench, right, like being a part of that, I'm thinking Rainier Beach is about to be good for a long time. I think they won the state championship this year. They might win that thing again coming up soon, even though I know Jalen Petty has moved on. Shout out to Jalen Petty going to Stanford. Your thoughts on the top 5 teams?
Well, my number 1 is Rainier Beach. Even though you lost Jalen Petty and Caden Powers, you still got Keandre Morris coming back. You got Micah and Marcus Manice coming back.
Yeah.
You got Knowledge Wright, a real gritty point guard coming back. And then you got Jamal's son coming in, J.J. Crawford, which some say is going to be the one.
Hey,
You know
listen,
what I mean? So,
I haven't seen – I saw some clips. Kat, you seen Jamal Crawford's son?
I have not.
Yo, I saw some clips. Boy, special.
Ooh, I'm gonna look
It's
at that.
special. Now, is Jamal Crawford, is he coaching the 15U team?
he is.
Okay.
He is. And that team's nice, So just having his presence alone just changes everything because kids is, oh, man, I played with him on 2K. Or I see him on ESPN. So to have him in my visual up close, it's different. Because now it's one thing to hear it from mom or dad,
For sure.
but to hear it from him up close and personal, it changes the culture.
So Rainier Beach,
Yeah.
I need 4 more teams. Who are the top 5 teams?
I like Gonzaga Prep.
Gonzaga
They
Prep.
also just won it. That's 4A. I like what Coach Dom is doing over there at Annie Wright. I really do. I think he'll have those guys going, even though he's going to lose Martin Carpenger and Jeremiah Harshman. I still like what they're doing over there because of the culture that he builds.
Okay.
Everybody buys in. So I like them. Of course, Garfield. You can never leave Brandon out the mix. He's going to figure out to come back some way, somehow. He still got Tripp. You got Amono Bomet. You got Isaiah.
Yeah.
Then you got KJ Hightower, too, so they'll be in the mix.
Nice.
And then it's tough, man. It's really tough. O'Day.
O'Day.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
O'Day, now correct me if I'm wrong. This season, O'Day they were young this year, right?
They were.
They seemed like they were a little bit young.
And they still got some pieces coming back. And
Right.
the thing about Coach Kerr is they call him the wizard, So the X's and O's, he's going to have guys prepared. He's going to have them buying in. So you can never count out O'Day. Seattle Preps.
So, Kat, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go to some AAU games because that's getting ready to get started, right? And so we have an opportunity to see these AAU teams. I'm sure Rotary's still doing their thing, right?
Absolutely.
Shout out to Rotary. That's where my It's where my kids got cut their teeth at. You know, they need to do a documentary on Daryl Hennings and Dan Finkley, but that's another story in itself. But any top other programs I need to go see?
And my apologies, man. Shout out Lincoln. Shout out Lincoln,
yeah.
Lincoln Tacoma. Shout out Lincoln
Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Okay.
With Trey Collier over there and O'Shea, and they got a freshman over there that's real special, man. So shout out Lincoln.
Before we let you go, Mike, Kat, check this out. I saw this on social media. As a matter of fact, Mike posted this. And so there's some parents at home, if you want to know how difficult that it is to get a men's basketball D1 scholarship today. I saw these numbers. Check this out. So there are, as far as Division I scholarship spots that are open, 2,178 that are open, okay? 2,178 D1 scholarships. So, yeah, my baby gonna go D1. Let me just give you an idea. In the transfer portal, there's 4,300 players that are in the transfer portal. Available JUCO, junior college, there's 3,800 that are available. So I'm not the best with math, but that looks like that right there turns out to be 8,100 right there, right? And then available NAIA players. So that means now if you go play that, you get eligibility right away into D1. There's 1,000. So there's 9,100 spots, players for 2,000 spots. That is crazy. Well, before you go, Mike, I wanted to give that stat, but maybe this is something you're out here and you're looking at a lot of these players and teams. What kind of advice and what can you give us on what is currently happening in the landscape of basketball? What is currently happening for these young men and women to be able to play at the next level?
Well, what makes it difficult, if I'm a D1 college coach and I have the opportunity to get a guy that's have a year or two experience, why would I want a high school guy unless he's a 4 or 5 star? When I can have a guy that's got the experience, he's ready. I don't have to coach him up as far as getting in the weight room or knowing the game speed. With a younger guy, I got to do all of that. I got to teach him how to get stronger. I got to teach him the game speed of D1 basketball.
Right.
So if I want to win now, I can get a guy in the transfer portal that can just come and help us win games right away. So it makes it tough. Unless you're a 4 or 5 star in your state, chances are that's not going to happen for you. Where I can go get a JUCO guy or a transfer guy right now, and he's ready to go.
Yeah. Kat, you tall. You ain't playing no basketball.
No, sirree. I was dance. Do we have time for one question?
Yeah.
All right, so you said something that was crucial. You said it's one thing to grow up and seeing it versus hearing mom and dad talk about it, right? So I was kind of in the generation of growing up and hearing mom and dad talk about the Sonics. I didn't grow up seeing the Sonics. How do you think the Sonics being sold and leaving has affected or shifted the local culture of basketball here in Washington, Seattle, if you will, Tacoma?
Well, for me, I grew up watching the Sonics. So
Yeah.
It was fun to go to the game with my grandfather or my dad and watch the Sonics game. And when they took that, it was a blow to the whole city. You know what I mean? It's tough because we have so much talent out here. We have such a good crowd. And for them to take that away, it hurts. You know what I mean? And I can't wait till they bring it back because it's a part of our culture.
Yeah.
So it's like a piece of us of our heart got taken out in a sense. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, Kat loves to just unk me to death and show me how. The fact that she sat there and said, you know, I didn't grow up with the Sonics. She basically kind of called me an old man. That's her way of doing stuff. Mike Jackson, thank you, bruh.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you, man. We will be having you come on again because I'm quite sure you're going to find out that there's some players that wanted to be in that top 5 or there's some teams that want to be in that top 5. And I'm sure we'll get an update on some of that because we're going to get out here on this AAU circuit and see who's doing it out there. All right, Mike Jackson, appreciate you. Heart of the City, go check them out. Kat Stokes, that was a great question, but you didn't grow up with the Sonics?
Nah, I did it.
Old.
I did it.
Made me feel
I'm
old.
heartbroken. I was old enough to know when they got sold, but not to be up in the games.
Right. Okay. All right. We're going to do this again next week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you rocking with us. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.